can't sleep at all. Should have stayed up all night for the TV. So I figured I'd pop in the hoodie and play.
Can't we just talk this over?
Yeah.
You got this, Vanille.
And you like
Can't we just talk this over?
You know what else it was? Something late. And didn't work out today. I need to work out like my ass. I need to be like fit after hardcore on. She trained himself. Up energy enough. Can't sleep at night. Somebody that's what it is. So, around here.
Bullseye. Watch and learn, kid. Let's get this over with. Follow the old man.
Take that. Take that.
Wisdom does come with age. Time to get serious. Did you see that coming? Guess running's out of the question. Not bad. Watch and learn, kid. Follow the old man's lead.
Take that.
Hold it up, kiddo.
Take that!
Let's get this over with.
Take that!
Watch and learn, kid. Time to get serious. Watch and learn, kid.
Take that!
Did you see that coming?
Oh God.
Can't we just talk this over? Did you see that coming? To the victor go the spoils. We got this, Vanille. Did you see that coming? The old man still got it. Guess running's out of the question. Did you see that coming? You should see your daddy now.
Right. Yes. It is so.
Let's get this over with. Bullseye! Can't we just talk this over? Atta girl. To the victor go the spoils.
Section.
Better not electrocute myself. that coming?
Take that!
Guess running's out of the question. Did you see that coming? Thanks, Banana. Pulse machines can't be that different. Old man still got it. Let's give this a shot. Gotta hit 4 control panels. Aha! It's alive!
Way to go! Can take him. This thing must be for powering other machines, huh?
Let's get this thing and get to it. Slide around in there.
old man's lead. We got this, Vanille.
Way to go, Saz!
Follow the old man's lead. Watch and learn, kid.
Finally made it.
We gotta sleep somewhere. This look okay?
Yeah. Fine by me. All set. Okay, good night.
Not a care in the world.
Oh!
What?
Do not cross this line. Understood?
Grow up.
And good night again.
Did you just go to sleep already? Still a kid.
Couldn't run if you wanted to.
Look at you. Wonder what's under the hood of that thing.
Keep your pants on. You'll get a peek soon enough. Just try and behave.
I'm not gonna make any promises.
Cheeky boy, aren't you? We'll see how long that lasts.
He's come to meet you.
You must be Snow. Sid Raines, Brigadier General of the fleet.
Hi, Sid. Thanks for the escort.
Apologies. I just had a few questions to ask you. If it works like they tell us, that means she must have fulfilled her focus.
Sarah!
Fulfilled her focus. As a tainted pulse l'Cie, that is.
You think she was out to hurt Cocoon?
I'd hardly be alone if I did. When it comes to Pulse, who could claim to know anything? I need the truth, for the sake of Cocoon.
The sake of Cocoon. We're from Cocoon. Shipping us out, purging innocent people. That's how you lend us a hand?
Those are the Sanctum's methods. The public fears what it doesn't know. It's grown tired of living in constant terror of these threats from the world below. So, the Sanctum devised a plan for you, l'Cie.
I'll bet.
A public execution. The people don't know any better. Strike down the phantoms before their eyes, and they sleep like babes.
No!
The Sanctum has intelligence from the other l'Cie already. It's only a matter of time.
You'll never catch them.
I see. We'll need your help then, won't we?
Sarah.
Let's go to her. Let's try to sleep. No.
You're kidding, right?
I mean it.
You can't drop the breakup bomb like that. Being alone's all right, I guess. Yep. Always was until we met. Then we did. And now I know there's something better. Being with you. We've come too far to quit now.
It's not your choice.
You really want to leave me?
I don't want to. I have to. Listen, it's over. Please, just stay away from me.
What happened? At least tell me that. If it was something I did, just say it.
Okay. Look. Branded by Pulse. I'm a l'Cie.
No.
Enemy of Cocoon. Danger to us all. Get it now? You're my enemy. Die.
Sarah! Sarah, where are you? Come on, stop pouting.
Promise me you won't do it.
Promise. I'll never make you cry again.
So, where are you headed? What's with the long face? You and Sarah have a fight? I don't mean to be insensitive, but if you get that upset just talking about breaking up,
How come Sarah's not with you, big guy?
Put on a few pounds, so it goes.
Sarah, it's all tuned up. Oh, you gotta take me with you next time.
Sarah! What is your focus? The sea have a focus, right? I'll go with you, help you do it. Just let me.
no. If you're with me, the
I
sanctum
will be with you, no matter what. We've come too far to go back.
I don't know. I don't know my focus. I'm gonna be a monster.
Not if I'm here. I'll protect you. We'll figure this out. Do it together, okay?
Okay. If it's true what they say,
Yeah?
when we're finished, I'll turn to crystal.
Don't worry. When the sea complete their focus, they're blessed with the gift of eternity. They wouldn't call it eternity if you died. You'll see.
More than
You and me will always be together.
Even if death was all that she was waiting, nothing would have changed. Sarah was brave enough to face it.
Can't believe we made it.
That'll slow down pursuit.
But aren't there troops on this side? We can't relax just yet.
Right. We press on. I'll take point. You watch our backs.
Actually, why don't you let me take point?
Can you handle it?
It's not a question of can or can't.
Now you're learning. Keep your eyes front. I'll watch the rear.
Got it.
I've got your back. You call the shots now. Be wary, but don't be afraid. Don't stray too far.
Listen up.
Just block out everything else.
Use the lights as a guide to keep us moving in the right direction. Be ready for the next fight. Go chasing after enemies. It's a surefire way to get ambushed.
Way to go.
Just another battle.
And,
I'm right behind you.
Have you ever been here before? On duty, I mean.
No, I haven't. This area is covered by the Woodlands Observation Battalion. You scared?
Not really. I'm ready to fight if I have to.
To keep you safe. I'll want it back.
Lightning. I'm glad I followed you. By myself, I would have had no chance.
Time to move. Trust me to cover your tail, and stay focused on moving forward. Keep calm. You don't need to rush.
I can do this!
You're doing fine, Hope. Keep it up.
Way to go. Amazing.
Just another battle. The military uses this place for bioweapons research. Lots of angry teeth and claws.
Just block out everything else. Ah.
Stay down!
Way to go.
Your enemy's actions. That'll help you form a strategy.
Ah. Ah. I did it!
Be ready for the next fight.
I'm not gonna back down.
Just another battle. Stay alert. What is it?
We need to hide. They don't seem like they're even looking for us. I mean, we're Lassie and we're on the loose.
SciComm's keeping it all under wraps. They don't want their failure publicized. Better to lose us than lose their pride.
So the other soldiers don't know about us, right?
Right. They don't know anything about any fugitives. Over here. Time to move. Get reckless. Concentration's important, but never lose sight of what's happening around you.
No holding back!
Stay down! Be ready for the next fight. Calm heads make good decisions.
Way to go. Just like I planned.
Bulkhead fell, see? Stay on guard.
Just block out everything else. Straight too far. Way to go.
Be ready for the next fight. Just another battle.
No holding back! Way to go!
That's it, Hope.
Way to go! I did it! No holding back! Way to go!
Hi, I'm Elliot and this is Mental Floss on YouTube. Today I'm going to talk about some misconceptions about diseases. Misconception number 1, Ebola spreads through contact with other people. The Ebola virus can only spread via bodily fluid to mucous membrane or broken skin. In other words, someone with Ebola has the virus in their blood, sweat, and urine. One of those needs to come into contact with a non-infected person's eyes, mouth, nostrils, ears, genitals, or an open wound. Then the virus would spread. It won't spread through regular contact or through the air or water. Misconception number 2, people who have recovered from Ebola might still be
as you were before you did anything, so...
Serious business program. Today we continue our two-part look at game software on this edition of the Computer Chronicles.
Games, and hundreds of... Additional funding is provided by McGraw-Hill, publishers of Byte. Byte's detailed technical articles on new hardware, software, and languages cover developments in computer technology worldwide.
Whoa! Upside Welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stuart Chaffee, and my opponent over here is Gary Kildall. We're playing an incredible game called Falcon. We're each flying our own F-16s. These two PCs are connected by the communications ports so that I see Gary on my screen, he sees my plane on his screen. This also, Gary, has a black box of flight recorder in here so that when I crash, as I always do, I can go back and look at the flight recorder, see what I did, and see what kind of mistake I made. These games are so sophisticated, but some parents, I think, worry that maybe their kids spend too much time playing computer games. What do you think?
Well, the games can be very, very educational. For example, it may be the kid's first introduction to a computer, pushing the buttons, running a mouse around, things like that. There are obvious things like hand-eye coordination is a very important thing to learn. Things like problem solving through tactics and strategies that help them win the game, things of that sort. Also, the games themselves, asteroids. Do you remember asteroids? Right. As the rocks flying through space, the kids would learn about gravitational effects, sort of a hands-on physics in a sense. Flight simulators, learn about flying. But, you know, I've got hands-on experience at home that tells me the kids can't OD on these things, though, too.
Gary, we're going to take a look at some of the hottest new games for two machines, the Macintosh and the IBM PC. Among them, Chuck Yeager's Advanced Flight Trainer, a helicopter simulation called Apache Strike, and one heck of a golf game called Mean 18. Now, as Gary said, computer games can be educational. We're going to start out by going to a school where a teacher is using computer games to teach her children.
Educational software has come a long way since the first math and spelling drills found their way into elementary schools. Teachers now have a choice of role-playing adventure games that both entertain and teach. At the Crocker Middle School near San Francisco, teacher Donna Hauer uses a game called The Other Side that simulates international conflicts.
We do a lot of different kinds of problem-solving strategies, and some of the goals of the class are to learn how to negotiate, to learn how to work in a cooperative group and make decisions together. Another one is to be able to organize your information and extrapolate information from that information once you've got it organized. And this game is a nice setting for that.
Each team of 4 students tries to build a bridge to the other team's country and must compete for the needed resources and money. Players divide their time between the computer and a conference table where they plan strategy and review their progress.
I found in my years of teaching that the students want to be put in a situation where they're acting something out, where they actually have to do these sort of things, and there's some sort of reward, just like there is for you and I when we negotiate. There's a reward, there's a carrot at the end of our negotiation. And living it is a better teacher than reading about it and reciting facts.
Donna Hauer's students may not be ready for the State Department, but their class game seems to be having an effect. During the recent Reagan-Gorbachev summit, they discussed the likely strategies used by the two sides. Not bad for a group of kids in their early teens.
Joining us in the studio now is Peter Merrill of PBI Software. Peter created the game Strategic Conquest. Next to Peter, Eric Zucker of Silicon Beach Software.
Peter, we talked about the kids getting all hung up on computer games. Is your game any different?
Oh, very definitely. This is a game that adults really like to play.
What's the idea behind it?
Well, it's a strategy war game, and over here I've got the map. The white represents water, the gray represents land. The black is an area that we don't know anything about. We would find out about it by moving some of our pieces into the black area. It would then become visible.
So this is not really the Earth, this is a mythical
It's
planet.
it's a game that we generate with a random number generator.
Okay.
In here now, in this current game that I've been playing, I own 4 islands here. The enemy owns these 2 islands right here. My strategy is to conquer this island. To do that, I've loaded troop transports with troops, and I've dumped them off up here. This creates a lot of confusion and draws him over here. In the meantime, I've loaded up a whole bunch more troop transports and dumped them off all along here. Now I'm going to go to the next screen. We'll see the details of that. This is the screen that you normally use when playing the game. This is the island we're trying to capture. My smoke screen was up here. The computer, for demonstration purposes, is playing my side. And you've got things like an aircraft carrier right here. These are jets flying around. You can hear the sounds of the jets as they move.
So would you normally be moving these jets with a point and click?
Yeah, exactly. Point and click like this.
I see.
Down here we've got cities, and these light pieces are my pieces. The dark pieces are the enemy pieces. And these armies are now going in and trying to capture these cities.
It says you've just captured
your city. So the key to the game is capturing cities, because cities make more pieces. The more cities you've captured, the more you
manufacture more weapons,
yes,
etc. I see.
the more you have, the more powerful you are.
Okay, Peter, what is the bottom line object of the game now?
Well, what you have to do is capture all the cities, and that lets you win the world.
You want to conquer the world.
That's
the
exactly
thing.
right.
Like any good game.
That's exactly right.
Peter, I'm going to ask you to get your program out of there and load up the next one. I want to talk to Eric for just a second. You have 2 games you're going to show us, and the first one is called Beyond Dark Castle, which you describe as kind of interactive cartoon, which is a great phrase. Tell me what you mean by that.
By that I mean it's like a cartoon experience in that you control the actions of the main character on the screen. There's a lot of detailed animation and cartoon-like digitized soundtrack that makes it a lot like a cartoon for the people that are watching you play.
Okay,
interesting. Let's see it.
Okay, let's show it.
We're in the game's practice mode in the middle of the swamp, which is one of the 14 rooms, and I'll go ahead and pick it up. There's a flaming eye that I have to destroy before he destroys me.
What are your weapons there?
I'm throwing rocks right now, but there in one of the other rooms there's a special spell I can acquire from a wizard to have fireball capability instead of rocks.
This is not Strategic Conquest.
No. No.
Okay, and you're trying to get to the end to get the...
To get one of the magic orbs that I need to win the game. I just gave myself some gas. I'm in the practice mode, so I can do that.
3 little helicopters.
At the end of this swamp, there's a guard shack where one of the 5 magic orbs is stored.
Okay, and this little guy's flying with his little private little helicopter thing, is that it?
That's right.
Okay.
And I believe we're almost there. There we are.
All right.
And I'll just stow my chopper pack here.
The detail.
Pick the mace up.
Okay,
got him. I've taken care of the dispatch the guard now. And now I'll go up and claim the orb.
Okay.
And all I need to do now is fly back out and place it on a pedestal in the anteroom, and then go get the other 4.
All right, I guess that's a pretty good description. An interactive cartoon. That's really pretty neat. I want to ask you about the other game you have here now, which is called Apache Strike. And you fly a helicopter, but it's not really a helicopter simulation, is it?
No, it's not really. It's an action fantasy is what I would call it. The real objective that we had in designing Apache Strike was to get a real good action feel and really get your pulse pounding.
Okay,
I'll go ahead and
get my pulse pounding, Eric.
Okay, I'll go ahead and start it up. I'm going to start on level 20, where there's quite a bit of action.
What's happening here, Eric?
I'm flying the helicopter now using the mouse, and that's one of the enemy helicopters. And these are skyscrapers that I'm flying through. And
where are you headed?
I'm trying to find the strategic defense computer. That gauge on the right-hand side of the screen, ouch, is the bearing and distance to the strategic defense computer. Now I'm 47 blocks away.
We just see that screen cracked in the right. What happened there?
That's my radar screen, which is normally very useful to have, but as you can see, this program will let parts of your equipment get damaged, which adds to the challenge on the more difficult levels.
You just have to know where you're going, right?
That's right. And now I'll try and get this tank.
Okay, what's the voice we hear?
That's Linda, the lifelike inboard narrative damage assessment computer. And that's actually the digitized voice of, oops, one of Silicon Beach's programmers.
We're asking you to talk and fly a chopper at the same time. I realize that's difficult. Okay, so you're trying to track down this, what here?
Strategic defense computer. It's the central computer controlling the city's defenses. And the mission at each level is to fly through the enemy's defenses to the center of the city and then destroy the strategic defense computer.
Okay, you mentioned you're playing at level 20. How many levels are there in this game?
You can go up indefinitely. We've got 500 levels programmed in.
Do you think anybody will ever get there?
I hope so. You can start on level 120 or 40. I'm getting real close now. Hopefully soon Linda will say SDC sighted and we'll know.
How do you know you're getting close from?
Enemy behind.
Oh boy. Ouch.
Oh. Actually, that smooth operation, the smooth picture movement looks really, really good. How do you accomplish that anyway?
What this is 3D animation with hidden surface removal. And the enemies are also have surfaces removed and are shaded. Bill Applin's, the programmer, has achieved quite a feat here to get 20 frames of that happening per second. It makes the game really smooth.
Yeah, it looks good.
Eric, what's the next step? What's the next technology thing that's going to make games even better than they are now?
There's a new technology on the horizon called Compact Disc Interactive that's actually a home entertainment type of technology. And I think that has the possibility to introduce video and a lot of interesting possibilities.
What are the current projections on when that's going to arrive as far as consumer products?
I think maybe end of 1988 is what I'm hearing. And the CDI player actually connects to the stereo and the television and contains
so you're actively working on that now?
Yes. Yeah.
Peter, real quick, what's next?
With faster computers, more AI, and you just never know what's around the corner.
Okay, Gary and I were playing Falcon against each other at the beginning of the program here in the same room. Nowadays, you can actually play a real-time computer game against an opponent anywhere in the country. Wendy Woods tells us how.
This is The Island of XIII, a Dungeons & Dragons type of game, and Michael Orkin, a statistician who's designed and played his share of games, is playing it for the first time with 2 other people 2,000 miles away in real time via the CompuServe network. This is an example of what's called a multi-user game. Several people can be online playing any one game simultaneously. They're not your arcade-type games with stunning graphics. Their visual display consists of the basic characters that can be sent across the phone lines to all types of computers. Angle brackets, carrots, dashes, and $signs represent doors, altars, or treasure, for instance. But graphics are not the selling point for multi-user games.
It's different. It's kind of fun to do it this way. And if you're playing it by yourself, of course, you can just sort of fool around and do everything the way you want to do it. If you're doing it with a few other people, then they want to be doing things their way. And so you might, in fact, that's kind of fun too, I guess, if you get in conflicts with the people that you're playing the game with.
Imagination is a big part of the appeal of these games. Players can take on identities of their alter egos. Getting hooked on a game like this can be expensive, but there are plenty of people willing to make that investment, or CompuServe wouldn't be planning to offer even more than the 30 games online now in the near future. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Wendy Woods.
Joining us in the studio now is Ned Lerner, the creator and designer of Chuck Yeager's Advanced Flight Trainer. And next to Ned is John Carell, one of the developers of a golf game called Mean 18.
Ned, you talk about your program as being a flight trainer rather than a flight simulator. What's the difference?
This program has a more emphasis on flight instruction than
previous programs. It has a flight instruction sequence designed by a professional flight instructor.
Okay, so let's take a look at it.
Okay. I'm going to start off flying in an F-18 Hornet, and I start off in a hangar. I'll give myself some power and start paying attention to the program.
Okay, this is a kind of neutral airfield. You're going to have to talk a little bit, Ned, while you fly.
Okay.
This is not Egypt, we're seeing pyramids.
Yeah, this is a fantasy landscape. It's like Egypt or Nellis Air Force Base. And it's just a good place to fly. Airplanes not much around and nobody to hurt.
You're obviously not in a Cessna here. I can tell.
This plane is wonderful handling and extremely good acceleration. I'm going to come back and buzz the runway here. See if I can.
So you really get the effect.
Yeah, I might as well take it in.
Oh, and there's Chuck Yeager.
Yeah.
Okay, what'd you do? You
I hit the ground. I wanted to show his pretty face.
What else can you show us on this? Got formation flying, I think, where you fly along with Chuck?
Yeah, I can.
Show us that.
There's 4 different modes of the program. One's formation flying, and it's, again...
oh, you're right behind him there.
Yeah. You try to stay as close as you can, and the trick is to watch his wings and follow the way they're banked, and to keep them in your screen, too.
And try and concentrate and talk at the same time.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned you have 100 hours on this game, right? On the flight simulator.
That brings up the point of how much does it help someone really learn to fly? Serve as a trainer?
It does a good job. If you don't know much about flying, you'll learn a lot about the way the plane handles, and you also learn how all the instruments work. And I think it might save you 50 hours of classroom time or something. So.
Ned, what role, if any, did Chuck Yeager actually play in the design of this?
Chuck Yeager's the world's most famous pilot, and he is one reason he knows almost everything there is to know about flying. He's an expert on airplanes, and he helped us pick the airplanes we're using for the program. He also is an expert in aircraft training, and he helped us set that up.
Ned, you're flying an F-18, you have an SR-71 in there. What else do you simulate?
We simulate a wide variety of planes, everything from World War I Spads and Sopwith Camels to experimental test planes and the XIII, World War II craft, pretty much everything you'd want to try, I think.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
And that's where SR-71, you can just fly up into space.
You can fly up to space and lose...
Pull around up there.
You don't have any control anymore. There's no more air, but
John, I can understand the flight simulator. How do you simulate golf on a computer? That seems harder to imagine.
Well, it's actually probably a little easier than what Ned did with this program. Ours doesn't require quite as much concentration to play, so hopefully I'll be able to describe it as we play along. What we tried to do was to provide the user with 3-dimensional view, and as I get into the game, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It's a little easier to show than it is to describe.
Okay, well, show it.
Before you get actually started with with plane, you have the option of going to the practice tee, as you see here, practicing your driving, going to practice screen, or practicing your putting, practice any one of the 18 holes, or begin the game, and we're going to begin the game here. What we're going to do is we're going to resume a game and play that I actually started on Pebble Beach, which is one of the courses that comes with it. Here you see an overview of Pebble Beach, the 18th hole, and as you can see, the regulation tees are 533 yards, pro tees are 543 yards. We're playing from the pro tees.
And it's a par 5.
And it's a par 5. The computer, as you can see down at the text portion of the screen, is recommending a driver based on the distance that I have left to the hole. If you ever get stuck, you can also press escape at any time, and that will remind you of all of the various key commands that you need in order to play. But basically, in order to do an entire stroke, it requires only 3 taps of the space bar. The first one will start my backswing, the second one will start my downswing, and the third one is actually the most crucial crucial as far as timing goes, for determining whether I'm going to hit the ball straight or hook, which means go to the left, slice, go to the right. So here I want to go. I'm going to tap it right now. To start, tap it again, tap it again. So I was a little bit late, which means the ball is going to slice ever so slightly to the right.
So there really is some physical coordination you've got to do here in terms of the timing of
That's right.
stroke. You're hitting the spacebar 3 times.
Right. So it's simple keyboard input, which makes it easy to learn for people, but at the same time it does require some critical timing, which will give people some challenge over the course of playing the game. Now we find ourselves at the position where I hit the ball, and I have 294 yards left to the hole. The computer is recommending a 3-wood because that's the club that will give me the maximum distance. So I'm going to try hitting it again. Again, it's 3 taps of the space bar, once, twice, 3 times. And again, I hit it a little bit late, which means I'm slicing to the right. You can see the ball traveling down there. And it looks like I might end up behind the tree. And by the way, there actually is a tree there on the 18th hole at Pebble Beach.
So that's the real course.
Right.
Okay.
Now I'm going to do something here a little different. We're going to go back to that original overhead view, and the computer is going to trace out where I just hit my last 2 shots. Yep, we're right behind the tree. Okay, so what I need to do then is aim a little bit. And I'm going to aim by pressing the left cursor key.
Looks like cheating to me.
So we're going to aim by pressing the left cursor key. Again, I can aim again to the right, and if I wanted to, I can go in a complete 360-degree rotation. The computer is recommending a pitching wedge, which gives me a total maximum distance of about 100 yards. So I'm going to hit it about 70% of the club's rated power. And again, it requires 3 taps of the
Now, how do you do
spacebar.
that? You said you're going to hit it at 70%.
Right. The power bar that's on the left-hand portion of the screen goes from 0 to 100%. So I'm going to stop it at about 70%, which is about the 7th white mark that you see up there on the screen. Hopefully I can do that. Here we go. And I intentionally sliced it a little bit because I had to aim to the left of the hole as well.
Whoa! Looked pretty good.
Good. So we're on in 3.
Okay.
Now we're going to go to an overhead of the green. It will show me where my ball is in relationship to the hole. If there were other people playing, it would show the rest of the players' balls.
I don't want to rush your game, but you got 30 seconds to make this up.
Right, 28 feet. If I needed to aim, I would move the cursor key up and down. And it looks like I have a straight shot in. My power bar on the left is now in increments of 8 feet, so I need to hit it about 3.5. Oh, I hit it.
Oh, sorry, that was pretty close. You got one more shot, though, anyhow.
Okay, well, we'll finish it up. And I still ended up...
All right.
I still ended up with a birdie. Now, there's my scorecard.
Now, you've got 4 built-in courses in Mean 18. You can actually design your own course, though, can't you?
That's right, because Mean 18 comes with a course architect that allows people to either modify an existing course or to create an entirely new one.
And as a golfer, do you find it satisfying to play the game that way?
I find it very simple, and people who don't even really play golf also enjoy playing it, too.
Well, 2 interesting simulations. Thanks, Ned. Thanks, John. That's it for our look at games. Hope we'll see you again next week here on the Computer Chronicles.
In the random access file this week, CPUs in the news. First of all, Intel has introduced a new 386SS microprocessor. It features 386 32-bit software compatibility, but with a slower 16-bit bus. The 386SX will be about 30% cheaper than the regular 386 chip, and it's about half the size. The 386SX will run at 16 megahertz. Meanwhile, at the Microelectronics Center in North Carolina, researchers have built a super chip called a Blitzen. It has 1.1 million transistors on a chip 1 centimeter square. It is described as a massive parallel processor and one of the most complex logic chips ever built. And at Gazelle Microcircuits in Santa Clara, California, a breakthrough in
There are some teachers who don't play by the rules.
She would wear low-cut shirts, skirts. She was a little touchy-feely with the boys in the classroom.
They risk everything by going way beyond the lesson plan.
He was just not aware of the potential danger.
That's as crossing the lines as you get.
Oh my God! Oh my God! These are the true and twisted stories of bad teachers. Knoxville, Tennessee is a city of 180,000 people south of the Mason-Dixon line that still retains a small-town feeling.
Knoxville's very much a conservative community, very much part of the Bible Belt. There's more churches here than liquor stores. We also have the University of Tennessee. So football is big here.
Knoxville is just a really unique place. The people are great, you know, everyone's really supportive of one another.
It's considered a great place to raise a family and send children to school.
I thought the school systems were great. I loved sports or activities, and I made a lot of friends. It's a lot of fun.
But in 2006, the seemingly safe and family-friendly Knoxville community will be rocked to its core. Inside a small home on Coker Avenue, Erin McLean is getting ready for her first day as a teacher at West High School. It's taken Erin nearly 10 years to get her college degree and master's in education. So her first day as an English teacher is the culmination of a lifelong dream. But most would not consider Erin's wardrobe appropriate for the classroom.
How's everybody? Welcome back from the summer.
Erin's high heels and short skirts cause quite a stir in her Knoxville classroom.
Hope you all stayed out of trouble this summer.
Erin is 29 years old, but she could pass for one of her own high school students.
I hope everybody's having a good time.
She had really big green eyes. She was a very attractive young woman.
She had the dyed red hair. She definitely didn't fit the mold of a typical teacher that we were accustomed to seeing in the hallways of West High School.
As the first few weeks of school go by, Erin settles into a classroom routine. Her lesson plans include teaching the classics that she loves so much.
He really writes in a way that you kind of buy everything that he's doing.
Under the circumstances, it's hard for the teenage boys to concentrate on anything she is saying. Soon, Erin McLean is the subject of more than one teenage crush, and she doesn't seem to mind at all.
High school boys, in their minds, they're doing the wolf whistles and wishing they could see more.
From an emotional perspective, it is not unusual for a teenage boy to have a crush on his teacher or to find them sexually attractive or to be hot for them. They can just sort of have fun with sexualizing the teacher.
I believe Erin wanted to be back in high school, but she didn't want to be a teacher, she wanted to be a student, and she wanted the boys to fawn all over her. So she dressed appropriately for a junior and senior in high school rather than a teacher.
She would be the type that would be sitting there sort of giggling with the kids. The students could tell her things that perhaps would have been considered inappropriate by a more mature teacher, and she would act as if she was cool with it. She enjoyed the attention that they gave her. It made her feel young and attractive.
Besides the sexy clothes, Erin has a way of interacting with her students that's quite hands-on.
She was a little touchy-feely with the boys, in particular, in the classroom. She would come up and put her hand on the back, get very up close and personal.
It seems all the boys have their eyes on the pretty new teacher, but one appears to pay special attention to her. His name is Sean Powell.
Sean was a good-looking kid, blonde-headed, and had a good build.
Okay, great. Girls found him attractive. The 17-year-old senior is very popular. He's often considered the life of the party.
Sean was extremely outgoing. He was one of the sweetest people you would ever meet.
I would consider him the class clown. You know, he was always joking and making light of the situation.
Sean has more confidence than some of the other boys, and he begins to flirt with Erin, still Mrs. McLean to him. And Mrs. McLean seems to enjoy their playful interactions.
It's okay that she likes the attention. What's not okay is to do anything about it. What most teachers would do is they would cut it and set a boundary. Instead, she starts to flirt back.
In any school situation, the taboo against this sort of behavior is clear. But Erin McLean doesn't seem to think the rules apply to her. Instead, she encourages what becomes an escalating chemistry between her and her student, Sean Powell.
He was more than a favorite.
They were really flirty.
It became kind of a rumor at West High. The students that were around them could tell that something was going on.
Sean shares Erin's love of writing and poetry, and soon their passion for the written word becomes something else entirely. They begin meeting frequently after school to talk.
She tried to mentor him, that he had written a particular piece that caught her attention.
There's a quality of sadness in the writing, and it draws Aaron in. His teacher takes a look into his personal file and learns that he has had a troubled childhood, suffering neglect and abuse at the hands of his drug-addicted mother.
His birth mother gave him up for adoption. She had some real serious issues. And then he was adopted in a good home.
But Sean's difficult childhood rings an emotional chime for Aaron, whose own upbringing lacked a certain stability.
Her parents divorced when she was young, and she eventually ended up living with relatives here in Knoxville.
Erin's background is really complex. She had no real connection with mother or father. She was shuffled around homes. When you don't get the right attachment and the right emotional needs, you walk around with this pit of emptiness inside.
Although Aaron is an adult, in some ways, she too remains a needy adolescent. Perhaps unconsciously, Aaron begins to see Sean as a soulmate, someone who could meet her needs and desires.
She's sending a message of some availability, which for most guys would actually frighten them, but not Sean. It turned him on. And it's his teacher. I mean, it makes it even more intriguing to him.
A teacher has to set boundaries with students. You're there to guide and instruct them, certainly not to be someone that they view as a woman versus as a teacher.
And soon, Aaron and Sean's affectionate handholding crosses an important boundary. They passionately kiss for the first time.
Once you cross one line, there's no going back. Erin really manipulated this situation. She knew what she was doing was not acceptable. She doesn't really have forethought for consequences.
By anyone's estimate, there is now a full-fledged romance going on between teacher Erin McLean and her student, Sean Powell. It's inappropriate on so many levels. And Erin is married. Erin met her husband, Eric, when she was just 16. Both grew up in the Knoxville area and went to the same high school.
Erin was an artsy type. She wouldn't have been somebody that would have fit into the traditional population here. She was artistic. She loved music, sort of a free thinker. Here, we would call her a hippie. Eric McLean was very quiet, natured, and he was very traditional in a lot of his thinking, although he was a musician. And so she was drawn to that because she enjoyed being around people who had the same sort of artistic sensibilities that she did.
Erin especially liked the fact that Eric's family was stable, unlike hers.
His family is very close-knit. His parents have been married forever, and so she was drawn to that.
A year after they met, Erin became pregnant, and she was married by the tender age of 19.
Erin and Eric got married. It was like a baby having a baby. She had no youth. She never got to experience things.
Soon, the couple has another child. Despite having children so young, they're both ambitious with a clear plan for the future. Erin wants to get her master's in education, and Eric wants to teach music. But he ends up putting his career on the back burner to take care of his family.
Eric was Mr. Mom. I mean, he prepared the meals. He was there to work homework with the kids. He walked them to school every day.
I know Erin was Eric's true love. He loved her so deeply.
But with two small children, the strains on the marriage grow. They fight often, and by their 10th anniversary, the spark in their marriage has disappeared.
Between him working, her going to school, and taking care of the boys, they really just didn't see each other. They didn't have time for each other, and so they began to grow apart.
Eric joins a band and takes solace in his music, often staying out late playing with his band buddies.
Very quickly, Erin started to not get anything that she needed, started to not have attention, and this really did a number on her. She was really angry.
Erin McLean grew resentful. She felt like that because she had married young, had children young, that she had missed a good deal of her youth.
In Erin's twisted logic, her budding relationship with Sean is giving her a second chance at getting something she missed out on and deserves. It's as if she's a teenager again.
They were hanging out frequently outside of school. He told me that he wasn't really sure where that was going or what was going to happen. I really didn't know what to think about the situation.
Sean's mother also starts to notice changes in her son's behavior. He seems distracted and secretive. Sean admits he's fallen for a new girl at school.
Sean was telling his mother that he was in love, would give a name, but I mean, wouldn't say she's a married woman with kids or anything.
Sean has been aggressively seduced by Erin, his English teacher. But she acts as if she's as young and in love as Sean is. Will she wake up from her dangerous dream before it's too late?
It's not always best to follow your heart.
First-time English teacher Erin McLean is teetering on the edge of a forbidden and illicit affair with one of her students, Sean Powell.
She was the power figure. She was the one who had the ability to either agree or put her foot down and say, no, this is wrong.
But that's not what Mrs. McLean does. Erin takes Sean to a secluded spot and commits the ultimate sin with her student.
I mean, that's as crossing the lines as you get. The marital line, for sure. She's messing around with a student. So this isn't your typical affair.
Driven by her own unfulfilled needs, Erin has sex with her student and betrays her husband and her role as a teacher. At 18 years old, Sean Powell has no way of understanding the dangers of the affair.
Erin definitely made him feel like he was needed in her life. I'm sure Sean didn't think twice about the situation and just went for it.
For someone like Sean with his emotional makeup, really it's a point of no return for him. To have sex with someone who's older, the powerful combination of mother figure and really hot woman who has a lot of experience, this is everything a young boy waits for.
It may be a common teenage fantasy, but Sean is acting it out with the wrong woman. Erin becomes so swept up in the affair, she seems to believe it can continue forever, without consequences.
She chose to put her sexual desires at the forefront of her life.
Erin is risking everything. She's risking her years of school, her teaching, her marriage, her children. I'm going to liken this to an addiction. She doesn't give one moment's thought as to any of the consequences of what she's doing.
The reckless affair continues until late in November, but soon their relationship and Sean's whole life is turned upside down when he is caught with alcohol on school property.
Sean got kicked out of school. The Powells were very good to him, but they were strict and simply weren't going to tolerate that.
His parents are furious and place him in a 28-day rehab program. Separated from Sean, Erin seems a shell of who she was. At school, she only goes through the motions, until she begins texting him, just as a girlfriend his own age might.
Aaron began texting him, you know, baby, baby, I miss you, baby, come home, you know, we can be together.
Locked away in rehab, Sean takes the bait and easily reciprocates, keeping the passionate affair alive.
From an emotional perspective, it's almost unbearable. He's young, he's emotionally bereft, and he really needed to be there, but then you have this person who's saying, I'll take care of you, I'll love you, and it gets so confusing, and it's so seductive that he needed to be with her again, too.
He left the rehab early because he couldn't focus on it because he wanted to be with Aaron. At that point, he was 18 and was certainly able to check himself out.
When you go to rehab, you're supposed to be isolated and be able to focus on what you want to accomplish. She kind of hindered his ability to do that.
Erin is narcissistic, she's selfish, and she's putting her own needs ahead of his best interest.
I think that in him leaving rehab was a combination of both her manipulation and his rebellion. It was sort of this perfect storm of influences.
Sean's parents, angered by his premature departure from rehab, refused to let him move back into their house.
Sean had to fend for himself. He was in effect homeless.
He ended up kind of living out on the street for a night or so.
But Erin's not about to let her young lover suffer, so she immediately comes to his rescue. She convinces her unsuspecting husband, Eric, to let Sean use his band's practice space nearby as a place to stay.
She sold it to her husband as if she was bringing this orphan child in that needed someone.
He has absolutely no idea of what's going on because she's manipulating and he's easily manipulated. Eric just wants to please his wife, and he has no idea by allowing Sean to sleep in his band space, he's creating a love nest for the two to be in.
In January 2007, after the 2-week holiday break, Mrs. McLean returns to the classroom and her sordid double life kicks into high gear. Since Sean was thrown out of school and is no longer a student, it's even easier for them to continue their affair. Sean waits patiently every day for the married teacher to finish with classes so they can meet to have sex. Still, Erin doesn't seem to consider ending her marriage to Eric.
She really wants to have her cake and eat it too. I mean, she doesn't even know how to really love someone. She just needs someone to fill her up. Erin has never once thought about the fact that this is her student, that this is wrong. She is just totally involved in how she experiences everything.
When you're living this escapism fantasy life, well, you need somebody to take care of the kids and to hold down the fort and bring in money. So she needed it.
Soon, Erin takes things a step further. Under the guise of mentoring her student, she goes as far as bringing Sean into her own home, where Eric naively welcomes him with open arms.
This buddy-buddy relationship where they're playing video games together.
I think that Eric was comfortable with their relationship at that time. He was obviously comfortable enough with it to allow him to be a part of his children's lives and his family's life. He kind of aided in Sean's ability unintentionally to go after his wife.
We'd see Sean over there, but we never thought a whole lot about it. We had met him, and he seemed like he was a nice young man.
But after a while, the chemistry between his wife and her young student is unmistakable. Reluctantly, Eric begins putting 2 and 2 together.
There was something not right about this relationship. After all, Sean wasn't a student at West High School anymore, so she really had no excuse to be working with him.
This is all about Erin needing to fill Erin's needs. She cannot be satiated enough. She needs constant attention to feel okay about herself.
He would wake up and Erin be in the living room. Who are you texting?
And then there were Erin's late afternoon bubble baths, where she would talk to Sean and shut out the rest of her life.
Eric would come home to find that she had been drinking and talking with Sean and ignoring the boys. Erin was living in a fantasy world. In that bathroom, on the phone with her lover, she could forget that she was a mother of 2 children and that she had a husband and had responsibilities.
Meanwhile, the red-hot affair acts as an intoxicant on 18-year-old Sean. He can't stop talking about it and brags to his friends about what he sees as his sexual conquest.
He told me about sleeping with her. He was just excited and got a rush from this, which is understandable. I could see how it would definitely be something crazy.
Perhaps, taking his cue from Erin, Sean remains blind to the dangers of the situation.
I don't think he ever considered any danger or any repercussions from any of his actions.
In his mind, I'm sure he thought that he bore no responsibility because she was the figure of power.
One morning in February, 4 months into the affair, Erin tells her husband she needs to leave early for school at 6 a.m. She says she needs to make photocopies. Eric, who's becoming suspicious, watches her drive off, dressed to the nines, and decides to follow her. He arrives at his own band's practice space, Erin and Sean's current love nest. Shocked, he watches as Sean gives Erin a long, passionate kiss.
Could you imagine this nice guy? He lets this student into his home, into his heart, into his children's lives. Only to discover his wife is cheating on him with this student? Eric must have felt like a gutted fish. I mean, he was just punched in the stomach.
The shock of what Eric has finally seen with his own eyes breaks through his wall of denial. Consumed with jealousy, he confronts Erin later that night.
Eric! What is your problem?
Almost unbelievably, Erin claims it's all his fault for neglecting her needs and threatens to leave him for Sean.
Please stop seeing that boy. I'll do whatever you
That's
want.
not gonna
I'll do
happen.
whatever you want.
Desperate to save the marriage, Eric tries to appease his wife.
Whose fault is that?
I love you.
Get your hands off me, please.
I think he really did want to save his relationship for the sake of his children.
You're just gonna have to deal with it.
She knew how desperate he was. She knew he wouldn't leave her.
The heated confrontation makes Erin briefly consider ending things with Sean, but that's not what happens. Instead, the affair only intensifies. Soon, Erin is even locking her young sons out of their own house so that she can make love with Sean.
We heard some loud pounding and hollering over at their house. And the boys were hollering, let us in, we're cold, and the door was locked. It's bad enough when you do cheat on your husband, but you shouldn't bring it home and around your kids, and that's exactly what she did.
Eric doesn't seem able to deal with his wife's shocking behavior. After their confrontation, he withdraws once again.
Eric was so passive and so submissive. Eric is just going within and withdrawing from life further and further into the abyss of his own pain, and he doesn't know how to make sense of it or how to get out of it.
Little does Eric know, life is about to become even more miserable. Caught up in a sexual tryst with one of her high school students, teacher Erin McLean blames her husband, Eric. She claims he never gave her the love she's getting now from 18-year-old Sean Powell. It's a devastating blow.
He was growing increasingly desperate and depressed.
In February, Erin and Sean's affair is well into its 4th month. By now, some students and even some teachers suspect they are involved, but no one says a word.
People certainly took notice of it, but particularly in the Knoxville school system, there's this attitude of let's not make a public spectacle of things. So other teachers would have been reluctant to say much about it.
Erin and Sean become even less discreet about their relationship. One Friday night, Erin and Sean boldly go out drinking together. As they walk into the bar, they see Eric there with friends. And instead of turning and leaving, they seem to enjoy tormenting him.
They came over and sat at the table with Eric and his 2 friends. At one point, Erin is leaning over and licking Sean's ear right in front of them. That was unbelievable.
It's a new low in a situation rapidly spiraling out of control. First, Erin and Sean were intoxicated by the passion they shared. Now, they are drunk on their own power.
She's selfish. Erin is really testing the limits of her husband, and in addition, this is part of her pathology, that she actually is putting them all as the characters in the Erin story, and she just wants everybody's attention on her.
Eric doesn't do anything. He doesn't punch him in the face. He doesn't call him outside for a fight. He doesn't tell his wife she's a slut. All these things that you would expect a man to do, he didn't do it.
Eric is a sensitive, nonviolent, put up with anything kind of guy. Men can spot other men. We can push around. We know which ones are going to knock us on our butt. And it takes you about 5 seconds to know you can knock Eric on his butt and he won't hit back.
The more that Sean realized that this guy not only would not confront him, but would let it go on, that fostered a cockiness in Sean.
He wasn't shy about flaunting it in Eric's face. And of course, any husband is not going to appreciate a young man basically bragging about how he's stealing his wife away.
Only a few nights after the bar run-in, the couple's audacity reaches new heights. Eric comes home to find Erin and Sean in bed, his bed. And they're not just kissing this time.
Eric opened the door and saw what was going on, and he just closed the door and walked out.
Most husbands would definitely have a different kind of reaction. They would probably go in and pick up Sean and throw him against the wall, throw him out of the house, and he wound up spending the night on the couch.
This is the most humiliating, most emasculating thing that can happen to a man.
For Eric, this level of betrayal from his wife is beyond belief. Although he is paralyzed with shock, deep inside, his rage slowly builds.
I think having those images ingrained in your brain, I'm sure it took a heavy toll on him.
Now desperate to put an end to the madness, Eric decides to take matters into his own hands.
Eric got pushed and pushed and pushed till finally he just cracked.
Eric catches his wife in his own bed with her former student. It's an unbearable betrayal.
You must just be like devastated having a child come into your marriage and your home and basically destroying everything.
Eric said that he got this weapon from his father with the intent to commit suicide, and that's entirely consistent with the way that he was growing increasingly desperate and depressed. I mean, some of his friends would almost say he seemed in a bit of a psychotic break at times.
A desperate and heartbroken Eric drafts a suicide note for Aaron.
I'm already dead. I'm sorry I didn't make your life better. I love you. I need you, but you aren't here for me anymore. You don't want me at all. I never thought I would actually kill myself, though I've wanted to die many times. Now I have to. I have nothing left to look forward to.
Despite his mounting despair, Eric can't quite pull the trigger.
He just couldn't do it. He couldn't bring himself to do it.
But then, on Saturday, March 10th, 2007, after enduring months of heartache, Eric, who still wants to get his wife back, finds a ray of hope when he sees Aaron getting all dressed up.
It's date night.
He thought they were going to have date night. The boys were at his parents' house for the weekend.
Date night becomes the tipping point of this whole thing. He has a moment of relief that, wow, maybe she's coming back to me. Maybe here's my chance to get back in and not be in all of this pain and have to go through this.
But Eric's hopes are soon dashed by Aaron.
Why are you getting all dressed up?
We're good for date night.
You didn't think I'd get all dressed up like this to go on a date with you, did you?
If that was it, it was the final straw. Their relationship had kind of reached a breaking point.
Don't come back.
You know, it's almost like a volcano that finally erupts or a dam that breaks. There's just so long you can hold back the real emotions that are happening in the rage.
If you leave here with that boy tonight, don't come back.
That's fine by me.
You have kids here. I'm their father.
Some father. There's nothing here for me anyway.
There's nothing here for you.
Aaron is immune to any threat of his. Then, as if on cue, Sean walks in.
Mike, is my date ready yet?
Tell him my house. He doesn't ring the door, but he just walks in to Eric and Aaron's house. Walks right in. He's going to pick up his date. It is the ultimate taunt.
Tell him my house. Yeah, right. What are you going to do? Make me leave?
I think that his confidence grew so much out of what she was feeding him. She was telling him that she wanted to be with him.
But Sean doesn't leave, and the cocky teenager, who has been drinking, simply laughs in his face.
Sean was not threatened by Eric. That was obvious in his actions and his words. I'm sure it made him very angry.
Still, Eric attempts to reason with his wife one final time, but she will have none of it.
She and Eric talk, and it's more of this, you know, I am going to leave, and you need to deal with it.
Children, I'm their father.
You're taking the kids.
She says, we're going to take the boys. We are going to take the boys, and that'll be it. He'll raise them, meaning Sean.
You're not taking the kids.
Once it's clear Aaron is serious about taking the children with her and Sean, Eric calls 911, looking for outside help.
The boys were the most important thing to Eric. As much as he wanted to hold on to Aaron and as much as he wanted to keep this marriage intact, the one thing we know is how much he loved these boys. And so the thought of losing them had to make him just insane. But because his temperament is such that he doesn't get angry, he gets panicky and upset. And so his reaction to that was to be fearful and desperate. That's why he called the police. He thought if he could get Sean out of that house, then he wouldn't lose his boys. He wouldn't lose his wife.
Hello, I have an intruder in my house. Okay. Trying to walk in.
Okay. Do you know this person?
Yes.
Do you know his name?
Yeah, his name's Sean Powell. He's one of her former students. He wants to start a fight.
With who?
With me.
When Sean realizes he is talking to 911, he walks outside.
But the emboldened teenager doesn't leave. He gets into his car.
And Sean was sitting there smoking a cigarette with the engine running, ready to drive off once his woman got in the seat.
Eric hangs up, ending the call. He's already lost his wife. Now, he may be losing his children. He's reached the end of his emotional rope. And no one could have imagined the twisted turn of events that lie ahead.
Eric is finally pushed over the edge. This is where it all starts to unravel in the biggest way.
Leave.
Oh, honey, that was great.
School teacher Erin McLean has decided to leave her husband for her former student and take their 2 children with her. After Eric calls 911 to get Sean, his wife's teenage lover, out of his house, Eric thinks he's finally taken care of the problem. But Sean isn't going anywhere. Eric, blind with rage, decides to get rid of the problem once and for all.
Leave.
Sean has insulted him for the last time. This passive, submissive man has now gone to the extreme opposite way of being angry, rageful, and confrontational. And he has a vendetta at this point.
You're not taking the boys, get out.
Eric's threatening him, saying, leave, you're not taking the boys. And Sean laughs at him and says,
"In 2 weeks, they'll be calling me Daddy."
I was in my living room watching TV. Next thing I knew, I heard a gunshot.
The neighbor watches as a panic-stricken Erin McLean rushes out of the house. Sean Powell is still in the car, bleeding and slumped over the wheel. Eric McLean calmly walks up to her and says, "Congratulations." Then he walks away. Erin appears to be in shock, as if the reality of what's happened slowly sinks in. Finally, she calls 911. It's the second call from the residents that night.
Oh my God.
Erin was on the phone. Oh my God, he shot him. Sean Powell, my student.
Please, please. Where's the guy that shot now? The guy that shot David. God, please. David, please. God, please.
I went over and I tried to console her, and she just walked away from me and went in the house. And then I walked up and I looked in at the car. And I saw Sean sitting there with his head kind of down and a big hole in his head.
Police arrive and pronounce Sean dead at the scene.
The wound is so big I can't even get it all the way down my throat.
The next morning, police find Eric walking alongside a desolate stretch of train tracks, shirtless, dazed and despondent, still carrying the rifle.
Eric doesn't show any remorse because he was in shock, and that is a typical shock response.
He's charged with the first-degree murder of Sean Powell. News of the killing spreads quickly and stuns the West High School student body and Knoxville's tight-knit community.
A mutual friend had come over, and I could see it in his face instantly something was wrong. And he told me that Sean had been shot and killed. It was really one of the most disturbing moments of my life.
It was very surreal that something like that could happen in my school, a place where I'd always felt safe. The overwhelming sense of pain, it kind of never goes away.
As the investigation into the murder of Sean Powell begins, Erin disappears with her 2 children.
No one knew where they were. At the same time, Eric, back in Knoxville, had filed for divorce.
A year and a half after the shooting, Eric goes on trial for Sean Powell's murder. It's a media circus.
This trial was huge news. I mean, people couldn't get enough of it. The courtroom was packed with just people showing up to watch. It was all anyone really talked about. If I went to get my hair cut or, you know, got gas, people were just constantly asking me about the McLean trial.
What made it unique was the student-teacher aspect of it.
What do you feel like tonight? How about some beef?
It seems like an open